Hey class, today our lesson target, our objective is I will be able to add and subtract fractions with common denominators. We had a short preview of how to add and subtract fractions early in the semester when we were adding and subtracting decimals, which are another form of rational numbers. But this time we'll dive a little deeper off into fractions alone. So, what is a fraction? A fraction is a rational number that represents part of a whole. It represents part of a whole. Make sure you use the play and pause button and not only write out your notes, but I really want you to make sure that you read over your notes and understand your notes when you come to class. All right, a fraction is composed of a numerator and a denominator. What is a numerator? The numerator is the top number in a fraction that shows how many parts of the whole are taken. It is also the dividend. Remember this, because when we deal with improper fractions, we're going to dive a little bit deeper off into this. A fraction is also composed of a denominator, which is the bottom number of a fraction that shows how many total parts make up a whole. This is the divisor, so I really want you to remember this so when we get off into it. Our first example of what a fraction is, let's take this. Majari takes 3 parts of a sandwich that was cut into 4 pieces. How much of the sandwich did she take? All right, that's easy. If you see this square is cut into 4 pieces. This represents the sandwich. So how much did she take? She took all of this and all of this. My shading game is a little off. How much of the sandwich is left? Okay. This is the only part of the sandwich that is left. So how could we write how much she took as a fraction? She took 3 parts out of the 4 total parts that would make the whole. So this is, she took 3/4 of the sandwich So dealing with how much is left, there is 1/4 of the sandwich left. There's 1/4 of the sandwich left. How do we know that? Because we see right in here that she took this part, she took this, and she took that. And what is left? This is the only part of the sandwich that is left. Okay, so one of the really important things that we really need to remember when adding and subtracting fractions is that, I'm going to write this in red, the denominator needs to be the same, must be the same. Another really important thing to remember when adding and subtracting fractions: only add and subtract the numerator. You only add and subtract the parts of the whole. You only add and subtract the parts of the whole. So let's see how that looks. So our example, we'll take the first word problem that was written up here by Majari. So if we look at our problem, we can see that we have 4 equal parts. She took 3/4 of the sandwich. If she took 3/4 from the entire 4/4 of the sandwich, we have a subtraction problem. 4/4 minus the 3/4 that she took. And to find out how much is left, we just subtract the numerator. But we can only subtract this if the denominators are the same. So 4 minus 3 is 1. And we just bring over our denominators. We do nothing with them when we add and subtract fractions. We do nothing with the denominator when we add and subtract fractions. You only add or subtract the numerator. Here's another example. So we'll take something like 6/8 and we'll add 6/8 to 2/8. Since our denominators are the same, this is something that can be added. We add the top by the top. 6 plus 2 is 8. And you just bring your denominator over. You have 8/8, or 8/8. You have 8 parts of something that it only has 8 parts. So you'll eventually notice that you have 1 total. But I'm kind of going a little bit ahead of myself. Let's do a couple more examples. And when you show up in class, well, I'll put a couple exercise problems here. When you show up in class, hopefully you already have all of these worked out. We'll do, so number 1, we'll do 5/10 plus 2/10. We'll do number 2 as 1/2 plus 1/2. Number 3, I'll give you 10/12, and you'll subtract 10/12 from 5/12. Number 4 will be 8/16, and we'll subtract that from 5/16. When you come to class, make sure you already have these problems worked out.